Hey guys, Josh here. So earlier today we got the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase. I was looking forward to it and I was not disappointed, especially for a fan of farming games. I think it was a really good Direct. First of all, we got an announcement for the sequel to Doraemon Story of Seasons called Doraemon Story of Seasons Friends of the Great Kingdom. And I loved the first game. I'm excited for this one, but I'm gonna talk about it in a separate video. Today I would like to talk about Harvestella, which was announced near the very end of the Direct, and it really took me by surprise. So this is a farming RPG that is being published and I think developed as well by Square Enix. And just that by itself is a really big thing because usually farming games are always developed by smaller studios with lower budgets, even the bigger games like Story of Seasons or Rune Factory that are being published by Marvelous. Even these games don't have a big budget if you compare them to Square Enix or a big AAA studio like that. It's just on a different level. So just that by itself, I think it's a really big move. It's not something we can ignore. For farming games as a whole, I think if Harvestella is successful, maybe Square Enix will start doing sequels or other farming games, and maybe other studios will start jumping into farming games as well with bigger budgets. So I think that is quite the news. But I would like to take a closer look at this game, just watch the trailer with you guys and discuss a few points that I noticed. And then we'll take a look at Square Enix official website where they posted an article that goes a little bit more into details for this game. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. And right away, it's kind of funny to see the Square Enix logo for a farming game. That's not something I would have expected anytime soon. But as you can see, this game looks beautiful. I love how the water looks. I love how the trees, the environments look changing with the seasons. It's just a very, very beautiful game. As much as I love Rune Factory 5, this is kind of what I was hoping Rune Factory 5 to look like. It's just really, really beautiful. And here we can get our first glimpse at the farming. So it looks like it's gonna be a pretty basic farming system, but it does look pretty good. I love how the square where you can select the tiles actually looks like, and I'm wondering what kind of tool the character is using to water the crops, because this is certainly not a watering can. It kind of looks like a fishing rod, but of course it's probably not a fishing rod. Maybe it's some kind of magical wand or some stick or something like that. If you guys have any guesses, please let me know. But yeah, let's keep going. So yeah, we're gonna have farming as well as cooking and crafting. And here we can see something that I'm really interested in. So it seems like we'll have an overworld that will allow us to travel from one area to the other. So usually in farming games, we either get a very small world, kind of like in Story of Seasons, where you just have the town and a little forest or something. And then you've got games like Rune Factory 5, where the world is bigger and you have an open world, but it ends up looking kind of empty and it's a little bit sad and there's not much to do in that world. But here it looks like it will borrow from older Final Fantasy games and older JRPGs where they use this overworld to travel from one area to the next. So I think it has a lot of potential and I've never seen that for a farming game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of that overworld. And here we can get a first glimpse at the combat, and it does look very smooth and very beautiful. It looks like an interesting combat system. And if you take a look here, you can see that there's going to be different jobs. And it seems like you can change your job mid-combat. So maybe for different monsters, you'll have to use different techniques. And you also have skills. And yeah, so you'll have this action RPG kind of combat system, similar to Rune Factory 5, but it looks way more satisfying and fun. And also, if you look at the enemies, there are some, I don't know if these are status effects or maybe they're elements. I think there are maybe more elements, but I'm sure you'll have to take these into account when choosing what kind of attacks you're gonna do. But yeah, let's keep going. And yeah, the combat just looks so fun. We're gonna have animals, of course, as well. And you can see there's gonna be tons of different towns. Let's just take a look one more time. So I think this is the town we'll start in, and that's in winter. And then you've got this one with a completely different architecture, completely different trees with the pink flowers. I'm sure these will change with the seasons as well. But yeah, this town looks completely different. It's all white and blue, and it looks very magical. I'm sure each town will have different shops and different NPCs and things to do, because you need a reason to visit the different towns. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they will differ for that. And here you've got another one, once again completely different. It has a very tropical seaside vibe with all the corals, the palm trees, and there's also a big moon. Maybe that's not a moon, maybe that's just some bubbles or something, but there's something in the sky that looks very beautiful. Yeah, I don't know if you will be able to have a house in the different towns as well. Yeah, I like to see the diversity here, and hopefully the different dungeons will be diverse as well. But yeah, I like what I'm seeing so far, and as you can see, there's gonna be hydroculture, so that's not something we see in a lot of farming games. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's gonna go, how that's gonna play. But we've got some kind of watermelons, some trees, some other crops. So I don't know if that's going to be in a special area or if that's going to be on your farm. But yeah, I like to see the hydroculture here. And then there's fishing, and it just looks like there's going to be so much to do in this game. It just looks so beautiful. It's really what I wanted Rune Factory 5 to be, honestly. And yeah, so the big twist with this game is going to be quietus. So in between the different seasons, there's gonna be this quietus season where all of your crops will basically die, and there's gonna be dust everywhere, and people will not go out, and it's gonna be kind of very dark and dangerous. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays. And yeah, we're just seeing a lot of gameplay right now. The overworld, once again, the combat. It looks like we'll have these big epic bosses. It looks like it's gonna be pretty story focused, but yeah, look at this. This is so epic. This is so nice. I'm so excited for this game. Let me know what you guys think of Harvestella. And the logo looks very Final Fantasy-ish. I get lots of Final Fantasy vibes actually from this game. I really feel like it's gonna be kind of like Rune Factory meets Final Fantasy. And yeah, just so beautiful. So it comes out on November 4th, 2022. This was the Nintendo Switch trailer, but it will also come out on Steam. And I'm kind of wondering if the gameplay footage we saw in this trailer, was it really all Nintendo Switch trailer? Because it is very beautiful. And yeah, there was no frame rate drops or anything like that. So I'm hoping this is actual footage from the Switch and not footage from the Steam version. I will get the game on the Switch no matter what, because I think it's going to be so fun to play in the handheld. But yeah, stay tuned for November 4th. I will certainly review this game, and I'll do my best to try both the Switch and the Steam version if there are any major differences. So, especially in terms of performance. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the trailer of Harvestella. But now let's take a look at Square Enix website, where they actually posted an article taking a closer look at the game, and hopefully we can learn something new. So what is Harvestella? Harvestella is a life simulation RPG where you can enjoy daily life, socializing, and adventuring. For example, you could spend a relaxing day farming, fishing, or raising livestock. So yeah, that's pretty basic, nothing very special here. But we get this screenshot that shows us the farm, and I think there's a few interesting things to note here. The first thing, as you can see, there's lots of fences. So I think we'll be able to customize and decorate our farm, but I don't know if there's going to be other things than fences like paths or like chairs or lamps or other decorative items. But at least we have fences, so that's at least one thing. And then we can see some of the crops, so it looks like there's going to be a good variety. I'm noticing especially the bananas at the back. They look shiny, they look a little bit magical. So there's going to be some kind of fantasy crops. And another thing that I'm noticing are makers. So you can see 4 different machines here and 2 more here. So I'm assuming these will allow you to process your crops into like jams or wines or other products like that. I feel like makers are becoming more and more common in farming games. I just hope that they learn from the mistakes that were done with Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, and that the makers are not too tedious or time demanding. I hope you can just put your stuff in there, forget about it, pick it up, or maybe they're going to be instant. But at least the makers do look good. I like that they all have their own appearance, and yeah, they look pretty good. And another thing that I'm noticing are these blue or gray things. I can't see very well. I'm gonna try to zoom in as much as I can for the video. But there are these things in the fields. So I don't know if these are kind of like sprinklers or something that will water crops automatically or something like that. But that is something you can have on your fields. So yeah, that's what your fields will look like in this game. So we have a little bit of decoration, we have fantasy crops, we have makers, and we have these little things that are maybe sprinklers or maybe something else. So you can do farming, and you can also head to town to chat up the locals. And there's going to be different towns, so I'm assuming you'll have to go from one town to the other to speak with different people. And they don't mention anything about romance or marriage, so I know for a lot of people that's one big part of farming games. For me, it's really not a deal breaker, but I'm not expecting any marriage system in this game, but at least there is a friendship system. And then we'll have dungeons, so we saw a bit of the dungeons in the trailer. And whatever activities you engage in, and there are lots of things you can do, time constantly passes. You're free to spend it as you please, but every 30 days, the seasons change. So seasons are going to be 30 days long, which is kind of the default for farming games. So nothing really surprising here, but we can get a little glimpse at how the different seasons look like. So we've got spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And once again, I really like the stark difference between each of them. It's really kind of game changing, like colors are different, the flowers are different. It's really like a big difference. Sometimes you play farming games and you don't notice too much when you go from one season to the next. But in this game, you will definitely notice also the lighting, the sky is different. You can see in autumn, the sky is kind of orange. And you've also got this big giant crystal at the back that's orange. In winter, the crystal is kind of pink. But as we saw in the trailer, there is a 5th season in this game called Quietus. It occurs as the seasons shift. During this time, the crops wither and the deadly dust prevents people from walking around outside. So I don't know how long that season will be. I'm assuming it's probably not going to be 30 days. It's probably going to be either just a few days, or maybe there's a way in game to make it faster or longer or something like. Maybe there's a way to control it depending on what you do in the game. Because you can't do any farming or anything during that season. So that's just my guess, is that it's going to be a bit shorter. And next, they tell us a little bit more about the story. So Harvestella takes place on a planet where 4 giant crystals, known as the Seaslight, govern the seasons. All life receives their blessings. One day, the Seaslight start behaving abnormally. Quietus begins to visit in the interim between seasons and quickly establishes itself as the season of death. The Seaslight glow with a strange light, emitting a dust formed of light that threatens all it touches. Crops die and people are trapped inside. During one particular Quietus, your character, a traveler, collapses in an isolated village. You meet a girl called Arya who claims to have come from the future and is researching the mysteries of this new unwelcome season. Thus, you and she take the first step on a journey that will reveal the very truth of the world. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that story will intertwine with the gameplay and really how the Quietus is gonna work. I'm sure that before the full release of the game, we will get more trailers and information about this game, and we'll get to learn a little bit more about that. And here's the protagonist. So this is the girl we saw in the trailer, but actually this game will allow you to choose your gender and appearance. And I'm gonna make another Rune Factory comparisons. Sorry if I'm making a lot, but these games are pretty similar and they are competing with each other whether we want it or not. But with Rune Factory, one complaint I hear from a lot of people is that you can't create your character, you can't really customize it. But this game will allow you to create your own character, so that's good to see. So you were saved by the village doctor after collapsing during Quietus and have lived near the village ever since. So there's a little fairy here. I don't know if that's the doctor, but yeah, it seems like this scene is going to be kind of like in the beginning of the game. And then we learn a little bit more about some of the other characters. First is Arya, and this is the girl who has traveled to the past due to some kind of accident. She ends up living in your home while she searches for a way to return to her own time and delves into the mysteries of Quietus. And then we've got Azil, or Azel, I'm not too sure. This young man lives in a town near the Spring Seaslight. He grew up in the town orphanage and now is part of the Argus Brigade. Thanks to his straightforward and honest personality, the townspeople place their trust in him. And lastly, we have Shrika. Shrika is a missionary of the Seaslight Order. As the name implies, they worship the Seaslight. She fights with blades of light that fly through the air and travels from place to place, resolving various incidents. And of course, there's probably gonna be more characters, but these are the ones that they introduced so far. And now let's take a quick look at the farming. So you can grow vegetables, grains, and fruits in your fields. Your specific options will largely depend on the season. Your first step is to plant your crops, tend to them, and soon they will be ready to harvest. So it seems like there's nothing really special with the farming system, at least from what I can see here. It seems to be pretty basic and straightforward. And once you've harvested your crops, you use the shipping box, as usual, to send them off and earn money. Alternatively, you could keep a few to use as ingredients in cooking. So there is cooking in this game. And that's our house where we will do most of our cooking. And it looks very cozy. I don't know if we'll be able to customize our house, but yeah, it does look very beautiful. The food you cook can give you lots of benefits, including restoring HP. Some recipes even grant you status boost, plus they look delicious. Yes, they look very appetizing. So the cooking and crafting, just like the farming, seem pretty straightforward and basic. So I'm looking forward to knowing more about that, hopefully in future trailers. But for now, let's take a look at the socializing part of the game. It's fun to live your best life on your own, but everyone benefits from a few friends. You can earn useful rewards by clearing quests given to you by townsfolk, including money and items. So we'll get some rewards for completing quests. And as you complete character stories, you'll also become closer to the residents of the town. And you can see on this screenshot here, there's a closeness level. So will that ever evolve into romance or anything more? I don't know. But it's good to see there's at least some kind of relationship or friendship system. And the closer you get to someone, the more you'll get to know about their story. Next, we've got the Overworld. So we saw this in the trailer, but something new they show here in this article is the submarine. So it says you can explore more than the land, get your hands on the submarine, and you can explore some parts of the ocean. What secrets lie within the waters? So I wonder if we'll be able to either find some special items, or maybe there's going to be some underwater dungeons or underwater cities. So I think that's a fun mechanic. I like that they're playing with the overworld and adding different ways to explore it. And lastly, they're talking a bit about the combat, which seems like it's going to play a pretty big part in this game. So just like in Rune Factory, we will be able to invite the different characters in our party and fight together. So that's good to see. And also we will be able to switch between the different jobs instantly in combat. And they actually show us 3 of the jobs here. So one of them is the fighter, and the fighter is a physical attacker who can unleash swift sword techniques. The job lets you handle multiple enemies at once by using both single target and range attack skills. Next, there's the shadow walker who lets you deal mortal damage with twin blades, and you can enhance your own attacks and deal impressive amounts of damage with hard-hitting skills. And then there's the mage job who specializes at long-range magical attacks. Because mages can utilize multiple elements, they're able to deal huge amounts of damage by skillfully targeting enemy weaknesses. So that's just 3 of the jobs, and there's gonna be many more, and so far it looks like all of them will have a completely different playstyle. And I'm assuming some of them will be better for certain types of enemies. And also in the trailer we saw some of the magic spells, and I just wanna say that looked so satisfying, so I'm sure I'm gonna play a lot with the mage job. But yeah, that's pretty much all that we know so far for Harvestella. As a reminder, this comes out for the Nintendo Switch and Steam on November 4th, 2022. Let me know, guys, what you think of this game. I am extremely excited. I hope it does not disappoint. It does look very beautiful. The combat looks fun. I think the quietest season can bring something new to the farming sim genre and make the gameplay a little bit different. I also like how there's multiple cities who all look completely different from each other. And also just the fact that this game is being published by Square Enix, it really shows that the farming sim genre is finally starting to get some recognition with bigger studios. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes. So let me know what you think of Harvestella, and let me know what you thought of the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase. In general, what announcement got you the most excited? Leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.